Hanna and the Killing Stars, Mireille, Enos and Joel Kinnaman stopped by for a chat to discuss both shows and the fact that both of them could kick the shit out of me really without breaking a sweat. So, Hanna is a long-form kind of TV adaptation of the 2011 Joe Wright film, which handily was also co-written by David Farr.
Yeah.
So, how did he originally pitch this to you? How did he get you hooked?
Well, he sent me scripts.
I mean, that helps.
It does, especially when you have David Farr writing, and it's such spare, beautiful storytelling. So he did that first. He just sent scripts to read, and then we sat down and had a conversation, and he talked about all the different aspects of this story that he still wanted to explore, the coming of age and the spy action side and this kind of strange version of a family that he was interested in exploring.
I mean, it's been 5 years, hasn't it, since The Killing finished? So people will be very excited to see you guys back together. However, obviously, Eric and Melissa, their relationship is probably as far from Holder and Linden's as you can get. I mean, was that part of the fun of doing this?
Well, I think it was a criteria. Yeah. When I got sent this, and Mireille was texting me like, "Take a look at it, please," and you know, it was a huge incentive for me that Mireille was in it, and but I always felt like when we were gonna re-team for something, it had to be something that was very different from The Killing.
Yeah.
And this is like the polar opposite in terms of character dynamics.
Definitely.
And but that was one of the things that was like so exciting when we, especially in episode 3 and 4, when our characters sort of get in the same room together, and in episode 4, it's almost like a mini play between us.
Yeah.
And we just right away we got into it, and I mean the characters are so different. I mean I'm playing like a German accent, and she's just very different, and the dynamic is so different. But immediately, like our flow was the same, and it's just like, oh, that's right. It's just so fun and easy to play with Mireille, and. Yeah, you just read each other so well, and our characters have like a real deep history. So us having such a good history and a long history, it fills that sort of void.
I mean, you mentioned episode 4. I mean, that's a pretty exciting one because I mean she's a CIA operative. He's a kind of rogue agent who's basically sworn to kill her. And you do spend quite a bit of the early show apart, and then that comes, and as you say, it's a bit like
payoff.
A small play, and it's, I mean, it's pretty intense. What was that like to shoot?
So
that was
fun.
the highlight of the shoot for me.
Yeah, I think me too.
What was that? One of the early ones? Where was that in the shooting schedule?
Well, in
shot
order.
it chronologically.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that was kind of in the middle.
Yeah. And because if we're talking chronologically, I mean, Joel, your character spends the first 15 years of the narrative living in a frozen forest, which is an interesting lifestyle choice. I mean, and you
Swedish,
tried this.
so it's easy. It's easy for me to imagine.
You tried this briefly, didn't you? Did you spend 3 days in a cabin?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I mean, is this a thing that you do? Is this a very method approach to it?
It was just sort of an exercise. I took it as an opportunity to challenge myself in a way that I've been thinking about doing in different ways before, just to kind of unplug. And I just realized like I'm so addicted to my devices and my distractions and all these communications that you have, and it was kind of disheartening of how like powerful the boredom was and how ill-equipped I was to deal with it. And I was so close to just giving up in the first night. And then I sort of got over it, and it was it was good. It was really good for me. I was up in I got a little cabin.
The Polish mountains, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the Tatra Mountains. It was like 2,000 meters up. I had to like ride a 40-minute snow scooter ride from the last station.
Amazing.
And no electricity, no running water, no. So it was pretty. When I was out walking during the day and it was snowing heavy, and I realized if I get stuck here, it's a wrap.
I mean, there's no Twitter reception up there at all.
No.
These are serious issues we have to deal with.
Yeah, very serious. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure, presumably, we couldn't pay you to do something like that. Or would you love it?
No,
maybe...
I'd be really scared. I'd be scared, especially at night.
Yeah.
When it gets dark. I mean, I don't like being alone in like a hotel room.
Yeah, but I mean, like when I was like sneaking out in the middle of the night with my little like headlight, and I had to walk out to take shit, and all of a sudden like I'm standing there with my pants halfway down, and I was like, Was that a bear? And like, it's just like, I really would have wanted like a camera on myself, and I was like walking around with my ass out and just like terrified with a headlight. I think it was a pretty good sight.
That's a whole other concept of a show right there, I think. You guys, you mentioned obviously the original where this comes from is a very different tone. Like Joe Wright took a deliberately skewed, almost sort of surrealist fairy tale tone to that. So it's a very different beast, and I think the character of Melissa in particular, it's like a Wicked Witch of the West type character, the way Kate Blanchett plays it. So would you say yours is a more grounded iteration of that character?
Yeah, she's fully three-dimensional, complicated. She has a lover and a nice apartment, and and then she's ordering deaths via her iPad. So there's
as you would,
as one does.
Yeah, super grounded.
Yeah. And she's more sympathetic, isn't she? As you say, she's more rounded.
I would like to think so. I mean, that's my goal. I think all three of these characters, there's no clear hero or heroine or villain. They've all done very dark things, and they've all done things that are selfless, and so. And
that is like a testament to David's writing, that he gives the characters real nuance, and even though so she plays sort of the structural villain, but she also has sides that are very opposed to that, and I think both me and Esme's character, we do some horrible things. Yeah. And it's just that it takes place in a moral gray zone.
Yeah, but I think a lot of TV does these days. I mean, I think people expect it more.
Yeah.
It's not quite so.
But that's what makes it interesting. If it's black and white, then you already have all the answers. Then there's nothing to discover.
Yeah, quite. And you now, am I right in saying you got bitten by the martial arts bug when you did Altered Carbon?
Yeah.
And did you keep up with that after the show? So what did you train in?
Well, I mostly train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That is my obsession.
So lots of grappling.
It's super addictive in an odd way. People get really addicted to it. And then I train some Thai boxing, but Jiu-Jitsu is like my biggest passion, actually.
Wow.
I really love it, and it really works for work as well. I got some jiu-jitsu in Hanna. You see in the first episode, she chokes me out. I let her choke me out. That was my invention. I think that was pretty cool. I don't think that's ever been done on film before. Like that where you choke someone out in a training session. And I was pushing Mireille because we had such a good relationship with the stunt team on the show, and I was pushing Mireille. I was like, you really gotta like get in there and be a part of working out the scenes, because what people don't know about Mireille is that she's like a Taekwondo black belt.
Really?
And she can really fight. And so it was just a great opportunity, I thought, for her too, to really get in there. And there's a couple of fight scenes that she has in this film that is really impressive. Yeah. There's no cuts in the edit.
Yeah, we got to shoot it all in one.
I always love it when they do that. It's like like the John Wick films, a lot of master shots, a lot of really great choreography.
Yeah. And those are the 8711 guys who did John Wick, and those are the ones that I trained with for Altered Carbon, and they're now good friends.
Yeah, they're very, very good at what they do.
Yeah. So, you're going to see Mireille do some serious ass kicking in this.
How long have you been doing Taekwondo for?
12 years.
12 years. Okay, so you can start.
No, she's legit.
So either of you really, if push came to shove, could train a small orphan girl to become a monster killing machine.
Correct.
So that's good information. I'll keep these questions very on the level. It's all good. I mean, we talked about The Killing briefly. It's been, as we said, it's been 5 years. I'm a massive fan of that show, really, really enjoyed it. But it was a bit of a bumpy ride for a while, wasn't it? Because obviously AMC got cold feet after season 2. Yeah. And then again after season 3 before Netflix stepped in.
Yeah, and then Netflix rescued it.
Yeah. I mean, was that quite frustrating at the time?
Yeah, it was super bizarre.
Yeah.
Because part of being an actor is you say goodbye to things and then you move on. And then once you've moved on, to go back feels very strange. Yeah. But then we did for season 3. And season 3, I actually think is the strongest. So I'm really glad that story got told. But then Sarah gets left in the woods, and we didn't know if it was going to have... Anyway, ultimately, I'm so glad that we got to give it an ending.
Yeah, me too. And it was one of those shows where... It was the first job that I had since I came to the U.S., and I was I was younger and definitely more of an idiot, and I think I learned to appreciate the show more as it went along. I was really, I had these ideas. I wanted to be a movie star, blah blah blah, and I didn't really see the value of it, until it kind of until it moved along a little bit, and then in the third and fourth season, I realized this is important to me.
Yeah,
and I think. In the beginning, I more saw it as a means to an end in a way.
Yeah.
You kind of get caught up in the career thinking, and you don't realize that you have to focus on what you're doing right now. This is the value of what you're doing right here, and
by the end, it really felt like a personal offering.
Yeah.
And you got to finish on your own terms, which is nice, because if it had ended at the end of season 3, while it was a great season, that would have been upsetting.
Yes.
We're going to see you again very soon on Amazon in Good Omens, where you play a horseman of the apocalypse.
Yes.
Which must be a nice change of pace.
Yes. I get to play War, but she walks around the planet calling herself Scarlet. So
okay.
It's very fun.
Okay. Have you guys ever read any Terry Pratchett stuff?
No.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. If you ever find yourself in a cabin in the woods, minus 15 degrees, take some Terry Pratchett with you. Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, guys, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks so much.
That was Mireille Enos and Joel Kinnaman, and their new show, Hanna, is available to stream in its entirety now on Amazon Prime Video. And on to this week's reviews. First up this week, we have the